Hidden deep within the mountains of Longshan, explorers stumbled upon a chamber untouched by time. Inside, they found a fragment of dark red jade resting on a cracked stone pedestal. Cold blue mist drifted along the ground, wrapping the artifact like a living presence. And even from a distance, it felt as if the stone was quietly breathing, slowly, deliberately, as though something inside it was waiting to awaken. As the camera moved closer, the surface of the jade revealed details no ordinary stone should possess. Delicate red veins glimmered beneath the surface, pulsing with a rhythm almost like a heartbeat. The cold mist swirled tighter around it, reacting to every shift in the air. Nothing in this cave was natural, and the closer one looked, the clearer it became that this jade was more than a relic. The archivist, Li Chunhua, stepped into the chamber holding a dim lantern. His silhouette froze as the lantern light reflected off the pulsing jade. For a moment, he seemed unable to breathe, staring at the artifact as if recognizing an old nightmare. Whatever knowledge he carried, whatever memories the jade stirred, they filled the room with a silent dread. Leaning forward, the archivist examined the jade with trembling attention. A faint red glow washed across his face, soft but unnervingly alive. The fog around his feet thickened, rising as if drawn toward the stone. Whatever force slept inside the jade, it responded to human presence. Quietly, cautiously, and with intent. Once sealed inside a marked wooden crate, the jade emitted a dim glow that escaped through the cracks. Even in storage, far from the cave, the cold mist clung to the container like a veil. Workers reported feeling watched, though no one dared open it again. Whatever the artifact carried, it traveled with it, unchanged, undisturbed, and waiting. Inside the laboratory, the jade was placed beneath a glass dome for study. But the moment the lights dimmed, fog crept across the floor, gathering around the table as though drawn by an unseen force. The red glow within the stone flickered in slow pulses, as if signaling that it was aware of its new surroundings. When a researcher stepped closer, the jade reacted instantly. Soft red veins lit up inside the stone, spreading like living branches. The mist thickened around his legs, rising with each heartbeat. The artifact wasn't just sensing proximity, it was responding to him directly. Up close, the jade's glow seemed to pulse gently, like slow, steady breathing. Frost formed on the surrounding metal as the cold intensified. Fog wrapped tightly around the pedestal, circling the artifact with eerie precision. The stone was alive, not with movement, but with intent. During the night shift, the security guard noticed something unusual. The jade glowed softly beneath the glass, casting faint red reflections across the room. As he approached, his flashlight flickered, and the mist seemed to part around him. A quiet sense of dread settled in, as if he was not alone here. A sudden glimmer caught his eye. Inside the jade, a faint shape began to appear. Lines shifted beneath the surface, forming what looked like a cracked, blinking eye. Not a reflection, not a trick. A watching presence awakening from its long silence. On the laboratory floor, a strange symbol began to emerge. Not drawn, but burned into the surface as if carved by invisible heat. A faint red glow pulsed through its lines, spreading out like veins beneath the stone tiles. Cold mist rolled across the ground, collecting around the mark as though responding to it. Whatever force had awakened was leaving its first trace. The cold mist within the room began to twist, forming 3 slow spirals around the jade. Each rotation tightened with eerie precision, as if guided by unseen hands. The red glow inside the stone flickered gently, syncing with the movement of the fog. It was no longer just mist. It was part of a ritual long forgotten. Ancient stone guardians stood motionless along the laboratory walls, silent relics from past excavations. Yet tonight, faint red reflections flickered within their carved eyes. The glow rippled across their surfaces as if some dormant presence stirred inside the statues. Though nothing moved, the room felt watched. A thin spark of crimson light slid across the cracked surface of the jade. The glow moved with deliberate slowness, tracing lines that hadn't been visible before. cold fog pressed against the stone as if drawn toward the shifting energy. Whatever was inside the jade was becoming conscious. An ancient scroll lay open beside the jade. For hours, its surface remained blank, until thin red letters began emerging on the parchment. The ink glowed softly, forming symbols older than any recorded dynasty. The fog lifted gently around the table, as if acknowledging the message being revealed. At the base of the artifact, a faint flash ignited, a ritual mark glowing with delicate crimson light. It was neither bright nor threatening, yet carried a presence impossible to ignore. Cold mist swirled tighter, gathering above the altar in slow, deliberate waves. Something ancient, something sacred, had just been reactivated. Beneath the jade, a third ritual circle materialized, its lines faint but unmistakably alive. Red veins expanded outward from the center, forming patterns lost for centuries. Cold fog rotated above the floor in soft spirals, drawn to the circle like moths to flame. This was no random reaction. It was a step in a ritual sequence. The entire room shifted ever so slightly, as though space itself was bending. Shelves trembled. Metal groaned. Cold blue fog spiraled upward, tightening around the jade in slow waves. Something powerful was reshaping the environment, preparing it for what would come next. Within the jade, cracks aligned, forming an ancient sigil known only as the Watcher. Its lines glowed with a dim red pulse, beating like a distant heart. Dense fog curled around the stone, thickening the air. The artifact was no longer absorbing energy. It was beginning to remember. A thick layer of dust covered an old stone slab nearby. But as the jade pulsed, the dust began to shift, revealing the carved outline of a humanoid figure beneath. Red reflections from the stone danced across the slab, tracing every ancient line. Whatever was depicted there was connected to the awakening. As the jade grew stronger, the air within the room began to freeze. The temperature dropped suddenly, turning every breath into a visible cloud. Metallic surfaces shimmered beneath a thin layer of frost, spreading wider with each pulse of red light. It felt as if the artifact was absorbing warmth from the world around it, preparing the space for something ancient to arrive. Symbols carved into the walls, once faded and forgotten, began to glow with a dim crimson hue. The light spread slowly along the stone, awakening patterns that had been silent for centuries. Fog clung to the markings, as if reading them, responding to their call. The laboratory itself was turning into a ritual site. A lone researcher stepped toward the artifact, drawn by forces he could not explain. The red glow painted gentle reflections across his silhouette. The fog thickened around him, rising with every cautious step he took. In that moment, the jade responded as if recognizing him, as if choosing him. A thin streak of crimson energy rose from the jade, drifting upward like a slow exhale. The mist wrapped around it, spiraling in perfect harmony with the glowing thread. The red light did not burst. It grew quietly, deliberately, revealing a subtle but undeniable presence. Inside the jade, the outline of a face began to emerge. Ancient, cracked, unmoving. Its features were carved in stone, yet the glow behind them felt disturbingly alive. Each pulse of light deepened the expression, revealing a presence older than memory itself. The jade was not just awakening. It was revealing what slept within. The fog thickened around the artifact, forming a circular halo that drifted in slow, deliberate motion. Thin crimson veins crawled across the table beneath it, glowing softly like distant embers. Each pulse synchronized perfectly with the movements of the fog, as though the entire room was breathing with the jade. A ritual circle beneath the jade awakened and began to rotate. Its symbols glowed faintly, turning with ancient precision. Fog spiraled along with it, responding like a living extension of the artifact. This was not random energy. It was a ritual unfolding exactly as it had centuries ago. Cracks spread across the stone walls, illuminated by a dim red glow from within. The fissures crawled outward like roots searching for escape. Cold mist poured from the openings, carrying an energy that felt both ancient and heavy. The building itself had begun to react to the awakening force. From above, the Jade looked like the heart of the room, a single glowing ember surrounded by swirling fog and ritual markings. The overhead view revealed how the energy expanded outward in perfect symmetry. The artifact was no longer simply awakening. It was taking control. Inside the Jade, the ancient base opened its glowing red eyes. The fog exploded outward in response, swirling violently before settling into a trembling silence. The air thickened with a presence impossible to describe, neither alive nor dead, yet undeniably returning. A sudden flash erupted from the Jade, forcing the researcher to shield his face. The red glow washed across the room in a single sweeping wave, pulling the cold mist into violent motion. Every shadow stretched and twisted as if trying to escape the light. And in the chaos, the artifact pulsed with a rhythm that felt unmistakably alive, as though something within it had finally opened its eyes. The stone floor beneath the Jade began to crack in long, branching lines. A dim crimson light glowed from within the fractures, illuminating the fog above it. Each pulse widened the cracks, as though something deep below was pushing upward. The very ground trembled, not from weight, but from awakening. Then, from the heart of the Jade, an imperial stone mask rose into the air. It floated silently above the altar, held by a force no human eye could see. The faint red glow lit the carved features, revealing an expression carved with ancient authority. The room fell still. The ritual had reached its turning point. The air warped as invisible force fields rippled across the laboratory. Walls bent subtly inward, bending light like heat over fire. Fog spiraled violently toward the Jade, drawn as if by a silent command. Space itself was being reshaped, preparing for the entity attempting to return. The stone mask hovered motionless, suspended in a perfect stillness above the altar. Cold mist drifted beneath it, swirling in slow circles like water around a sinking stone. The faint red glow inside the mask flickered, hinting at the presence waiting to emerge. This was not just an object. It was a vessel ready to be filled. A trembling hand reached toward the mask, drawn by a force impossible to resist. The faint red glow touched the fingertips first, sending a cold pulse through the air. Fog coiled upward, wrapping around the arm as if guiding it. And in that suspended moment, the boundary between human and artifact began to blur. The stone mask shifted, its cracks sliding into new patterns, as though the face was trying to reshape itself. The red glow pulsed unevenly, disturbed by the movement inside. Fog trembled along the edges, reacting like a living organism. The transformation had begun, and there was no reversing it. The floor split apart entirely, the cracks tearing wider as cold air surged from below. A faint crimson haze seeped through the opening, bringing with it a presence older than the stone itself. Mist poured upward in violent bursts, filling the room with choking tension. The awakening force was no longer confined. A soft, vertical beam of red energy shot upward from the Jade, vibrating like a living organism. The fog shook violently around it, strands of mist being pulled into the ascending light. The room darkened, lit only by the trembling column. Something was rising, something returning. From within the storm of mist and crimson glow, a faint silhouette began to form. The ancient emperor, his presence cold, translucent, impossible to fully see, materialized above the Jade. His aura pulsed softly, resonating with the stone below. He had crossed the threshold, and his reign was no longer bound by time.